Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to listen to Offa Rex, the Old Churchyard. Apparently it's a 2017 debut album. Okay. That's something I don't see every day in my request sheet, so don't know what I'm listening to. All I know is it's not a boomer thing, even if it's requested by a boomer. It's from the contemporary era. I don't even know what era we're in, because you know how like the modern era was actually like in the 20th century. So if you say modern now, we're no longer in the modern, but then what's going to come after contemporary? Because it's in contemporary now. But what about once we're past that? Then what are we? We need another name, because I think modern implies like mid-century modern, like 1950 to like 1975. The modern. Not I don't know. We're past that. Okay.
Come with me out to the old churchyard. I so well know those paths neath the soft green sward. Friends slumber in there that we want to regard. We will trace out their names in the old churchyard. Mourn not for them, their trials are o'er, and why weep for those who will weep no more? For sweet is their sleep, though cold and hard,
Oh, pretty. Okay, yeah. As I was saying in the chat, in my notepad, there's that organy thing she's playing. I don't know, some kind of accordion-y, air pumped thingy, droney, bagpipey sound. I don't know. And then there's an electric guitar, and so it sounds both old and new at the same times. And then her voice is just really good, pretty, and she flips really seamlessly between her chest voice and her head voice. And it's just relaxing, you know. Again, not every song reinvents the wheel. It's telling a story. It's taking us on a journey. It's putting us in a vibe. You know, not everything has to be like, and that was like the dark side of the moon, and that album changed everything. You know, not every. But you guys know my thoughts on the dark side of the moon. Hey, I'll listen to the dark side of the moon, but someone needs to pay me a lot of money to do it. Remember when I'm like, I'm such a, I'm such a jokester though. I was like, why don't I start in the middle of the album and only listen to a few songs and then not finish it? And people got really upset about it. But you know, why do what everybody else does? You know what I mean? It's just like everybody does that. It's like, okay, cool. And that gives the band too much power. Like they think they can just control me that way. Like they wrote some album that was like kind of influential and then like now everybody has to just listen to it. I'm not gonna stroke their egos like that. Pink Floyd, you think you can control me? Write an album with a specific order? I'm gonna watch it out of order. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of my personality sometimes. Like, you don't have it. That's how anti conformity I am. That's how anti-authority I am. I'm very anti I hate authority. I don't do well with authority, okay? So if someone tells me what to do or what I can't do, I'll just do it just to spite them. That's just how it is. I'm like, how dare they think they have the authority over me by writing an album? I'm not going to listen to it in order. Let's listen to it backwards. Yeah. And then instead of being like, oh my God, it's so amazing, I'll just be like every typical reactor, like, wow, it's the most amazing thing I ever heard. I go, yeah, it's pretty good. Like like that other guy, I was like, yeah, Jimmy Page, he's like decent. Jimmy Page is like okay at what he does. I wouldn't say he's a master, but he's proficient. Again, it's the Slavic upbringing. You know, I could have done something fantastic, and my parents would be like, it's a good start, Erica. It's a good start, but you must keep going. So, anyway, the harmonium, that is what the woman was playing in the song Offa, the Old Churchyard. I liked it. I think this person who requests these is kind of like one of the Jethro Tull people, and he's really into like Renaissance, Jethro Tull, all the folky stuff, Matty Groves, Fairport Convention, right? That's his genre, right? So this is in his like wheelhouse, but I like it too. I mean, it's pleasant. So, ah, Ryan Sean Music and Love challenges Erica Reacts. Let's see what he has to say. Respect for art is authority conformist. Yes, it actually is. It doesn't mean it's bad, but it is. It's okay. There's When I was studying opera, I had all these old teachers who had studied with the Italian. So the reason America has such great opera training is that the Italian bel canto teachers came to America in the early 1900s and late 1800s, and then they taught that generation of like the great American opera singers, like the ones that were in the Met in like the 1950s and 1960s. They were trained by the Italian bel canto masters. Okay, so all of that knowledge came to America. So then my teachers, the really old ones, were from this like golden age of American opera, and opera was so obsessed with like classification, especially Germans. They have a thing called the Fach system, and your voice isn't just soprano, mezzo soprano. Your voice is like of soprano. You could be a dramatic, you could be a lyric, you could be a coloratura, you could be a dramatic coloratura, you could be a lyric coloratura, you could be a soubrette, you could be a. There's all these like sub genres of soprano, and once they put you in your Fach, they tell you that you can't sing a certain aria. They're like, you can't sing that aria. You're a lyric soprano. You can't sing a dramatic soprano aria. They tell you that you can't. And I find that when I was young, that is raising a generation of people who are cogs in the system. And people that wait around for permission never move the bar. So had I waited for permission to start a YouTube channel, like, well, let me follow the rules. Let me make sure that I have all the knowledge first. Let me first obtain a degree in YouTube reacting. Let me first figure out what I'm doing and research for like 1,500 hours to become an expert. Then I'll start my YouTube channel. No, you have to just go into it not knowing what you're doing. You have to just be like, I'm going to keep going. No one's going to give me permission to do this. No one needs to give me permission to do this. So that's the line I'm trying to draw. I respect what they made, but if you are constantly just being like, I need some other authority to give me permission for me, then you're never going to be but a cog in the system. And if you want to move things and you want to like make your own company, you have to be able to do that. It's like an entrepreneurial thing. So that's all I'm saying. If you want to be something, you don't sit around waiting for permission. And this happened to my friend. My good friend is now a very successful voiceover artist. She's making over $500,000 a year. She told me to go, by the way, when she started this 10 years ago, she said, Erica, you should go into it. You'd be so good at it. And then I kind of didn't like listen to her, but that's okay because I found my own path, right? Like she had also been an opera singer with me. So we studied together in college and she even had family connections to opera. So she had connections. She went to Juilliard after undergrad. I instead got married and started a family. I gave up because my teachers were so hard on me in undergrad that they basically bullied me out of opera. They were like, you're never going to be good. You're not good enough, blah, 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 blah. If you don't love this, if you're not willing to give up everything, if you're not willing to live this terrible lifestyle of travel, if you want to have a family, then you should stop singing. That's what they told me. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I better stop singing. Like they basically like put it that hard. Now she went on to get her master's, but then even with her master's from Juilliard, she couldn't get hired. Okay. She could not get hired. And so she's sitting around and she's like trying to get work and she's like, what am I going to do? So instead of waiting for permission for someone to say, I have given you this role, I have now cast you in this opera, she made her own job. Okay. She made her own freaking job. She became a voiceover artist and she started at the very bottom. She took the worst jobs. She like clawed her way up. She worked really hard. She worked hours and hours and hours doing like audiobooks and like bad jobs, and then eventually she got commercials and then those commercials have residuals. And now she's like the voice of like all these things. She's the voice when you call like a big pharmacy chain. She's the voice that's on the, hi, thank you for calling, whatever. She has all of these big jobs. Okay. But her message, because I we talk sometimes, we're still friends, whatever. But her message is that you can't wait for someone to give you the approval. Okay. If she had waited to be hired in opera, she would have never gotten hired in opera. And that's what the master's from Juilliard. Okay. That's like the best of the best. So instead she's like, okay, pivot. I have these skills. I'm a good actress. I have a good voice. I'm going to turn it into voiceover work. Okay. So that's what I believe in. And I manifested my own life. Like where I am today, I was a very broken down woman when I was young. I had no confidence. But part of that was from these toxic institutions. The toxic institutions that said I couldn't sing this aria because I was too young. Then time flies by and suddenly I'm too old. So what the F, opera people? Like, it was ridiculous. You're too young to sing this aria. Then all of a sudden you're too old to sing the aria. So just sing the freaking aria. If you want to learn the aria, learn the aria. Now, obviously when I teach people, I say, this could hurt your voice, so let's not push it, but let's sing it in a safe way. This isn't how it would be. You don't have what it takes to sing this on stage, but that's okay. We can sing it for fun in class. I'll just make sure you do it in a way that doesn't hurt your voice. So I let my students sing the arias that maybe like aren't like in their Fach, right? Like I teach a very, she's really a soubrette. She has like a really nice voice. Soubrette, maybe like lyric coloratura around there. And she wants to sing something a little more full lyric. I let her. And I just say, don't push it. Don't try to sound like a lyric soprano. Just sound like yourself. Okay? And she can do it. But I had teachers being like, you can't do that. And then I wasted like a decade of my life just like waiting around for someone to tell me to have permission. So had I started this channel 10 years ago, think how big I'd be right now. But I didn't, because I was always afraid of like, what are people going to think of me? What if I'm not successful? What if I'm this? And even when I started this channel, I used to get like 200 views on my videos. Okay. And like, I was like, wow. But I didn't care. I just kept going. Every day, I released a video every single day since May 1st, 2025, no matter what. One video a day, at least, since May 2025. And I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter. And sometimes my videos get like 50,000, and sometimes some videos get like a ton of views, and it's great. But what I realized, it's not about having views, because what I've built is something cooler, which is I have a membership community, because you don't need 100,000 subscribers or a million subscribers. You just need like 1,000 true fans. And this is what a lot of like, I listen to a lot of like podcasts about like influencers and stuff like that, and business owners and whatever. You just need 1,000 true fans. You don't need a million followers. So and that's what I have, guys. I have like 1,000 true fans between like my members on YouTube and my members on Patreon, and like you guys who are the subscribers who show up to all my lives, even if you're not a member. You guys show up to like all my stuff. And those are my true fans. So I don't need a million. I don't need a million. And that's why I do weird stuff like this, because I don't do just like, what do I need to do to get to 1 million subscribers? I don't really care. I just do my own thing. And that's why, to go back full circle, yes, it is a little bit conformist just to do things the way that they're created just because. So I don't know. You could either be like, I'm a traditionalist, like, okay, opera. I prefer opera set in the original time period, because they'll take Don Giovanni now and set it in like 1970s Argentina. I don't know why, but they'll be like, it's Don Giovanni, but we're going to set it in 1970s Argentina. And you're like, okay. So typically I don't like that, not because I don't believe that the director has the artistic license, but I'm like, it doesn't really add anything to the story. So I'm also like, it's kind of distracting. That's all. You have the right to do it, but why not just put it in the period that Mozart wrote it? Because like that's when he wrote it, and I think it's more cool to be brought back to the period in which it was wrote, because it has such, Dupont had such, he's had such commentary on that time period. And yes, those commentaries can still apply to today. But it's also nice to just be drawn back to like they're wearing like the corsets and they're dressed in like the 1780s outfits. And I think that makes a lot of sense when you're doing a Mozart opera. That's just my opinion. Now, you could say that's conformist. So it's like you have to evaluate everything with like perspective. Like, why am I doing it? And if you have a good reason to set it in 1970s Argentina, great. But you just have to decide. But they have the right to do it. Just like I have the right to listen to Dark Side of the Moon, starting in the 3rd track and not finishing it, and then being like, I didn't really like her wail, her scream, her cry. Didn't do anything for me, personally. So, anyway. And yes, people said, so wonderful. Can I watch your wonderful curated vids in a weird order? Of course. In fact, videos pop up all the time from like a year ago. Like when I thought that the Steely Dan album was called Aha instead of Asia, because I couldn't tell that it was like an Asian woman on the cover. Those are funny. Sometimes they come up and you're like, wow, Erica didn't know that back then. Or like when I first listened to, you find stuff pops up all the time from a year ago. Like videos I did before I knew anything. When I was just a noob to YouTube reacting. So yeah, a lot of commentary for day. So exactly. So that's the thing, guys. I don't... You sometimes have to make your own job. That's my point. Don't wait around for people to give you approval. And sometimes you can get stuck in a trap of art, like respecting the institution so much to the point where it limits you. You still have to be an individual. Another example. When I sang some Fish covers and Grateful Dead covers, but in my musical theater or opera voice, people lost their effing minds. They lost their effing minds. They're like, what is she doing? And I'm like, dude, I'm a trained opera / musical theater singer. This is what I effing do. Let me cook. Okay? They're like, you're disrespecting the jam band genre. I'm like, dude, Trey loves musical theater. Jerry loved theater as well. Jerry loved bluegrass and weird folky things, and like they loved all that stuff, okay? So don't come in here telling me what Jerry Garcia wouldn't approve of my Casey Jones in opera style. In fact, Jerry would have freaking loved it. But like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, don't be so conformist to the point where you lose the plot, okay? It's music. It's supposed to be fun, and it is supposed to be innovative, and you are supposed to try new things. Does that make sense? So yeah, watch my Casey Jones operatic cover, because honestly, actually, the main curator of the Grateful Dead, the official archivist of the Grateful Dead, who has a SiriusXM channel with like tens of thousands of followers, he reached out to me. I wasn't even following him. I don't know who he is. He goes, oh, I love your covers of the Grateful Dead. I think they're so great. That's exactly what we're supposed to do to like maintain this 300-year legacy. And I go, thank you. So I got the approval from the official archivist, unsolicited, by the way. Meanwhile, all the basic bros in the chat just being like, this is a travesty. This is a blah, 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 blah. So sometimes the average Joe doesn't know greatness. That's my point. So yes, thank you, Dean. Thank you. Thank you. Then wants to stay in his little box with his head in the sand. He's funny. You know who would do that well? Yoshi. He would just be like, I just want to stay in the box with my head in the sand. I don't want to change. I don't want to change. But guys, I now control the narrative of Jerry Garcia because I now have the Jerry Garcia doll. Creepy? Yes. But all Cabbage Patch dolls were creepy in the 80s. Okay? Am I creeped out by this? Yes. Am I going to hide it from all the voice students that come to my house? Yes. But now, Jerry and I can have some serious chats about my operatic terrapin station. He likes it, don't you, Jerry? You're not under coercion, are you? He likes it. Don't look into the eyes of the Cabbage Patch, Jerry. Every child needs a Jerry doll. If my words did glow in the golden sunlight, be-day, ba-da, 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 ripple in still water, where there is no da-da-da, our words to blow. Someone said, if I want to lose a student, put Jerry on top of the piano. Yeah, it's a little creepy. Only people from the 80s kind of understand this. He's probably worth a lot of money. It was an original. Thanks to me being a star, people find me on YouTube and then they're like, hey, Erica, I'm going to be traveling through town. I want to see your band. By the way, I'm getting older and I'm getting rid of all my stuff. I was like, it's a little morbid, but he's like, would you like my Jerry doll? I was like, I mean, the Yoshis are a little bit tight on resources right now, but we do need an entertainer for the Yacht Rock cruise, right? Because we're making the Yoshi Yacht Rock cruise. He's going to be, one of them's the captain, the skipper, one of them does the sails, one of them is the cook in the galley. And now we have a little entertainer. We're going to have the Jerry Garcia band, but it's just Jerry and a bunch of Yoshis. So anyway, let's just put him back behind the piano where my students will not see him. They can see the Yoshis. They're cute and harmless. The Jerry Garcia Cabbage Patch is like very niche. But if any of the YouTubers were to have it, it shall be me. So, all right, everybody. My cleaning lady is late, but she will be walking in imminently. So I'm going to go because I need to pre-clean because that's what you do when you have a cleaning lady. A mujer de limpieza. Okay? I'll see you guys soon. Bye.